One of my goals of this year was to not splurge on a lot of Blu-rays and 4Ks and stuff. I have an issue. What is up, everyone? My name is Anthony Jenkins, and I review movies, TV shows, and all sorts of pop culture and nerdy stuff on my channel. And if you have been following me on social media such as Instagram and Facebook, you know that I splurged on a bunch of Blu-rays and 4Ks in the month of July last month. And I haven't splurged in a good while. I have been spending a lot of time on stuff that I need for myself, like not stuff that I want, like this stuff. But soon I went to Best Buy and shopped on eBay. I said to myself, it'll be really good to splurge right now. And I eventually bought a lot of stuff and burned a hole in my wallet. So without further ado, let's show off the movies I got. First one up is an 80s classic, Weird Science. Probably John Hughes' most underrated movie. I know a lot of people talk about The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, and 16 Candles a lot. But a lot of people always seem to overlook Weird Science because it's a wacky, crazy comedy about these two teenage boys that create the perfect woman, Kelly LeBrock. And this movie has a whole bunch of stuff that is just crazy, insane, and just over the top, and it's totally the opposite of what John Hughes would make, like your Breakfast Club, like your Ferris Bueller, like your 16 Candles, and like once he produced like Pretty in Pink. But this is a good one he directed, probably one of the most underrated movies from the 1980s. I know this is a cult classic, but not everybody put this on their top best movies of the 80s, but I would too. I mean, you do have a young Robert Downey Jr. in this movie, and every time I see him in this film, I just go, I wonder what he's doing nowadays. Just a little inside joke, because he's Iron Man in the MCU and stuff, and obviously, like, people don't really think of Robert Downey, but people think of Robert Downey Jr., they don't think of his older movies that he did like this. They think of like Iron Man or even like Sherlock Holmes or whatever. Like, but Weird Science I have. I'm glad I got the Arrow video release of this movie, because I know one of the original releases of this movie was by Universal, since they owned the rights to this film. And I heard the transfer for that Blu-ray is very crappy, and this was a much better transfer, which it is too. I will say, like, I love the transfer for this film, and I will plan on getting more Arrow video release Blu-rays soon, because I heard they have a great, like, collection of movies on Blu-ray. So Weird Science, great movie, underrated classic. Another 80s classic, The Outsiders. A lot of people have recommended me reading a book by S.E. Hinton. I believe that's her name. It's on my wish list. I do plan on reading it one day, because I do love this movie, and this movie has one of the best casts in any movies. I mean, you have Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, Tom Cruise with his messed up teeth, Ralph Macchio, Rob Lowe, C. Thomas Howell, Emilio Estevez, Diane Lane. I mean, like, an all-star cast, especially for when this movie came out. Like, everybody was in their prime. Like, this entire cast in this movie. Like, just a very great movie that hits on the emotions. The direction in this movie is fantastic. The acting is fantastic. This is an all-around fantastic movie, and again, one of the best movies of the 1980s, and I do plan on reading the book one day. Everybody's been telling me to do so, and I will, just when I have the time, because when it comes to books, it takes me a while to finish. So yeah, The Outsiders I got. And more 80s movies. The National Lampoon's Vacation movies, with the exception of Vegas Vacation and the reboot from a couple years ago. I do enjoy these movies a lot. I know European Vacation gets a lot of crap, but I have fun with it. But it's Vacation and Christmas Vacation that are my favorites, especially Christmas. I don't know what that's about. Especially Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation is my favorite of the three, and one of my favorite movies from the 1980s, and one of my favorite Christmas movies in general. Just how funny movie that's laugh out loud. I love Chevy Chase, and the slipcover is very embossed too. I love the slipcover. Like, the feeling of it is, I don't know why I'm doing this right now, but like, I just love embossed slipcovers like this. It's funny movies, and there's movies that I could watch any day of the week and not get tired of. So yeah, the vacation movies I got. And more franchise films. I have the Rambo movies, with the exception of Last Blood, because I heard bad things about Last Blood, and even before I heard bad things about Last Blood, I was not interested in seeing the movie, judging by the trailers and some of the promotional stuff. It did not interest me at all, because this was the perfect send-off for John Rambo. Rambo was awesome, and of course the original classic First Blood, one of the best action movies of the 1980s, and just a very, very great movie in general. I'll admit, First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3, I've seen bits and pieces of, and for what I've seen, it's very, very cheesy in a bad way. But I'll get around to watching these again one day just to give them another shot, to see if they're good or not. I don't know. But it's just First Blood and Rambo that I really enjoy a lot. And I also wanted to get these movies for a while anyway, because I do want to give these movies, like, watch the entire franchise, like, from back to back, from like from First Blood to Part 2 to Rambo 3 and to Rambo, because I've never done that with these movies like I do with other franchises. But one day I'll watch these movies, like a marathon down one day. But the Rambo movies I got. One of the biggest surprises of this year, Sonic the Hedgehog. We all know that the original design of Sonic was terrible, and we have feared that this movie was going to be as terrible as his design in the first trailer, but thank God they fixed him in the final product of this movie. And this movie was a lot of fun. This was the last movie I saw this year before Rona. But this was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It was very cute, very heartfelt, and my prediction is this with Sonic the Hedgehog. Since this movie did pretty good, I have a feeling that video game movies might be the next big thing after comic book films, because comic book films have had a great run with the MCU and a couple of other movies too. But since Sonic the Hedgehog broke the video game movie curse, we might get more good video game movies down the road. I feel like the 2020s might be the decade of video game movies. That's just my prediction. It may or may not happen, but a man can dream. One of my favorite movies of last year, and a movie that not a lot of people have been talking about, but I think is really great, Queen and Slim. Such a powerful movie. A very great, powerful movie, especially what's been going on in our society nowadays with Black Lives Matter and with George Floyd. This is definitely a great movie to watch, because it has powerful messages, a great story, and it's a great cast in general. And Daniel Kaluuya and Jodie Turner-Smith, chemistry in this movie is fantastic. I do think that this movie was robbed for an Oscar, because I do think that this movie, I feel like, should have been nominated, because this is a film, like, from beginning to end, like, I was intrigued throughout the entire movie. And hopefully, like, one day down the road that this will be looked at as a classic, especially like in the black film circle, like along with movies like Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society and Juice. I feel like this is gonna be one of those too. Shazam! Shazam is another movie I picked up. I really enjoyed this movie, and I didn't think I was gonna like this movie because of the trailers and the promotional photos and things that really buy in the costume. I was like, they're really doing a Shazam movie? DC, you're taking another deep dive. Like, stop. Stop it, DC, stop. Like, I wasn't a fan of Aquaman. I hated Justice League and Suicide Squad. You did great with Wonder Woman, but come on now, DC. But they surprised me with this movie, and I'm actually looking forward to more Shazam in the DCEU, along with Black Adam and the sequel. I gotta say, like, Shazam, this is a better Captain Marvel movie than Captain Marvel. Just saying. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I am a fan of SpongeBob. Like, SpongeBob was my childhood show as a kid. Like, I do have the double feature right here of SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water, and SpongeBob SquarePants the movie. I don't know why they have the first one on the bottom and the second one up top. Like, it should be the other way around, but I don't know. Who cares? I mean, SpongeBob, too bad that this third movie won't be shown in theaters this year and will go straight to streaming next year. It sucks. But hey, Corona's messing everything up this year. But true story. I actually went down the Exorcist steps 2 years ago, and since this movie takes place in DC and I live in DC, I was able to experience that. And I will admit, it freaked me out. It freaked me out walking down the steps. And I didn't even know I was walking down the Exorcist steps while I was walking it down. I'm like, why am I walking down these heavy horror steps? Like, why am I walking down these steps? As soon as I went down, I realized, like, oh, these are the Exorcist steps. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, just shows to show, like, how freaky this movie is, because as soon as I was walking down these steps, I had a weird, funny feeling. And then I realized that, oh crap, it's from this movie. Yeah, this movie takes place in DC, and glad none of that supernatural crap actually happened to me when I went down those steps. But hey, Exorcist, glad I own that movie. Last and definitely not least, a movie that not only was one of my favorite movies of last year, but one of my favorite movies of the last decade, and that is Parasite. A movie that not only won Best Foreign Film at the Oscars, but won Best Picture. That is never heard of at all. Like, in film history, the award history, this movie broke new grounds. Like, I saw this movie earlier this year at the Landmark Theater. Everybody had been telling me to watch Parasite. Anthony, go see Parasite. Your life will never be the same. And I'm like, okay, I'll go see this movie called Parasite. I thought it was going to be one of those movies that would be very overhyped and not that good and very overrated. But I went in with low expectations and my mind was blown. This movie was funny. It was suspenseful. It hit the emotions. It hit in all the right places. Like the direction by Bong Joon-ho, stellar, fantastic. Like anywhere in the dictionary, like for how amazing of a director this guy is. And I'm looking forward to watching more of his movies, because I've seen Snowpiercer, I haven't seen The Host, and there's some other movies that he directed that I haven't seen yet, but I added to my watch list. But this movie instantly made me a fan of his, and it instantly made me like want more movies like Parasite, because this movie is a social commentary. It is, especially like in this day and age. This is the perfect movie of this generation that we're in right now, and I'm glad that more foreign movies are getting recognition at the Oscars, because usually that's not really the case. But Parasite, this movie, groundbreaking, amazing, stellar, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. So yeah, guys, that is my haul of Blu-rays and 4Ks that I bought last month. And it's crazy that I spend so much unnecessary money on these things, but it had to be done. I had to get out my system, and I'm so glad I did, but I'm mad that I did it at the same time, because my bank account ain't looking too good because of that. But oh well, guys, I love movies, and if I love movies, then I gotta buy movies, I guess. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and if you are new to my channel and you stumbled across this video, and if you haven't seen none of my videos on this channel, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.